Well, welcome back to Pitch 1 here at the Union Cup 2019 in Dublin, being held at the DCU, and we are getting underway with the Emerald Warriors Firsts playing their last game of the day here, and they are in Pool C. They've had the King's Cross Steelers Thirds, who they saw off in no uncertain terms earlier, and the Cologne Crushers, and now this is To Win, which is a lovely pun on to lose, of course, the French outfit onto the field. And we're delighted to say that joining us for this one is one of the men who's a big part of the Emerald Warriors, and no less than tournament director. Here, it's Peter who's with us. Peter, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks very much for having me.
Wonderful to have you here. And have you been pleased with what you've seen of your own tournament so far?
So far so good. Glad to say that the weather was one thing that we can't control, and it has actually started to behave itself.
I didn't bring any sun cream because I saw the rain forecast, and I think after about an hour of wandering around between games, I've probably got sunburn.
Yeah, I definitely have.
Yeah, just check the back of your neck there. That's going to look lovely later. First blood has actually gone to the French here. And they've got the penalty on the 22.
It's quite blustery out there, though. It's quite a bit of a crosswind going. Not the easiest of kicks.
Yeah, left to right, it certainly is.
This is quite an important game for both teams. Both teams are currently on 10 points each. So whomever wins this game will most likely end up playing for the Union Cup proper. The loser is going to end up in the Union Cup Bowl competition. But that's a good kick.
Certainly is. French got off to a decent start, recognising the opportunity to be in the 22 and take points. And To Win go up by 3 points to 0.
There is quite a considerable breeze, though, going from left to right that Toulouse, To Win.
Well, it's easy to do. They're from Toulouse. We can call them Toulouse.
Yes, Toulousians.
Indeed. In terms of results, To Win was they were winners 36 points to 5 against the King's Cross Steelers Thirds, a team that the Warriors dispatched by 47 points to 0. To Win beat the Cologne Crushers 31 points to 14. So, well, it's going to be fascinating as to how this one plays out. You would expect the home side to be the stronger, no doubt about that, but good start from the French.
One of the curious things about these types of competitions is that the French teams, if they can't contest scrums, which they can't, there's an opportunity for the opposing team to enforce a penalty on them, which is that they must play with 14 men. In this particular instance, the Emerald Warriors is enforcing the penalty, so To Win are playing with 14 men for the duration of this game.
I see. As I noted earlier that the Steelers were happy to play against the Rebel Lyon side with whatever numbers that they could put out. You said that the French side couldn't contest. Is that a French thing, or is that just the number of front row forwards they brought over with them?
No, my understanding is that the French Union doesn't allow the French club teams to play outside a certain level with contested scrums, more so because of insurance issues.
Yeah, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so it's kind of unfortunate, but it is. You develop your game based on those kind of things. So, if it's uncontested scrums, which a lot of us are trying develop that skill, and it is a big part of our game. If you don't need to have kind of that type of pack, then you probably are going to, your backline moves will be probably more time that you'll spend on. So it is just to even that up.
Yeah, it's interesting. You sort of feel on the one hand that it's leaving them a little hamstrung when they go and play tournaments, but certainly on foreign soil, but then again, are they just learning to play a slightly different game?
Exactly. And another interesting thing, I guess, is that the Rebellion are vying to host the next Union Cup
Certainly
in
are.
2021, and it'll be interesting. I'm not quite sure what the rules are there, if they're going to enforce a no scrum tournament, but I don't think so. I think as a Union Cup it should be contested, so it'll be interesting.
Well, certainly if the majority of the competing unions are allowed to compete at scrum time, then but yeah, that is an interesting consideration. Do you think in your wisdom that gives Birmingham an upper hand?
I think possibly the upper hand from a Birmingham perspective is there's quite a lot of UK teams that have voting rights within the Union Cup, so a little bit like I guess Eurovision, depending on what your allegiances are, it may well turn it in your favour.
So the Eastern Bloc voting.
Indeed.
We may see. Very good. Well, as this continues to unfold, the Emerald Warriors will have to maintain a little bit of composure here and patience, because the French are not turning over, leading as they are after nearly 6 minutes by 3 points to nil. Away again from Owen Kelly. They're going to try and straighten and go up the middle here as the 2-8 just gets in the way to try and slow the ball down a little bit. Finbar Ryan is then looking to create some room. We've seen him on the end of a couple of decent scores. Plays it back inside. Oh, that's a good pass to get under the next tackler, and there's a high tackle advantage now being played to the Warriors as well. Kelly off to the right. Just beginning to queue up now and trying to make a mess of the last defender, which they've managed to, and then the ball back inside. And that will be the try. Brilliantly scored. It's Philip Brereton who's the man who gets the score. And Emerald Warriors were patient in the end and get over for the game's first try.
I think they started that from well inside their 22, and I think with this wind it's probably the only way that they were going to get out. Some good hands in there. Quite a difficult conversion there now into this big breeze.
Yeah, it certainly will be. One to be drilled, perhaps.
Yes, and actually Aaron, his past sporting press was on the Gaelic football, the round ball, so I'd imagine the way that he's lining that up as a torpedo, he's going to give it some welly to try and get cut through that breeze.
Yeah, you can certainly see by the setup that this is looking to be drilled through. He's given it a fair amount of airtime as well. What a brilliant kick in the conditions. Yeah. Superb from Oren Sweeney. And that might just crush a couple of French hearts.
Yeah.
The ability to score those sorts of extras. Warriors 7-2-3. Chatting earlier with Philip Purcell, who is one of those involved in this game, just about the quality of the pitches here as well, which seems to have been going down pretty well with most of the teams. Must be pleased.
Very pleased. I mean, the preparation has, as you can imagine, has taken some time, but working with Dublin City University and having them on board for quite a considerable amount of time, and the IRFU in particular with their assistance, it actually has gone quite seamlessly. I'm touching wood in my head here because there's still one day to go, but so far I think everybody is pleased with what they have seen.
Oh, the French just thought they were away for a moment.
So did I.
Heart skipped a beat next to me.
Yeah, one of the beauties about this particular tournament is the ability that we have, because the players are staying on campus across the road in DCU. It means that their travel time is obviously much shorter. I I played in a number of these Union Cups and some of the Bingham Cups where the sports grounds can tend to be a bit of a trek, which is not really what you want, in particular if you have an 8 o'clock kickoff. So this is ideal, and I think the players really appreciate it.
Well, it also keeps all the teams close to each other, which enhances the atmosphere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Great break there and a nice
Kabongo
offload.
Trying to find some room. Two-Win will try and use the touchline to take that out, but the assistant there has kept the flag down. The referee just wants a quick word here. So I think we have a blood replacement. Vincent Kabongo doing another decent little bit of carrying. Saw him feature well earlier, but Toulon were able to predict that. But I suspect that the Warriors have wrestled that back. That was really well done, and now they've got numbers queuing up on that right side.
Again, nearly picked off though.
Yeah, nearly went man and ball. Just need to be wary of being too predictable in shoveling it down the line, because the French are getting in that passing channel, waiting to pick that off. It is another penalty, and the French will need to be wary of their discipline now.
I think another injury there to another Two-Win player.
Somebody get him a Gauloise. He'll be absolutely fine after that.
Absolutely. I think there could be another Gerard Depardieu nose after that.
Got to grow rather than break for that, hasn't it?
True.
Let's get into the detail here. Here's Kabongo showing that he can be a double threat with the offload as much as the carry. But he gets away. Did that go forwards? Referee's happy enough. Kelly is there. French are appealing. But now we have a penalty, and it is just overheating a little in patches. The referee, I think, is reaching for a card here. Indeed, we are going to see a yellow card. So for the first time in the game, it'll be 14 men apiece. He's still suffering over there, by the way. Look.
He is.
Probably still got tears in his eyes.
And I think that's 7 minutes in the bin for David Revans.
I was enjoying that earlier when I was chatting to the Warriors lads, and I was just checking whether there were any amusing court names or nicknames, and they said, "Oh, Revo." I was like, "What for Revins?" Revo, yeah. What about Marrow? What for Marin? Yeah, okay. Maybe we need some better nicknames.
we might do something on Kangaroo Court about that.
Yeah. See, in my touch rugby club, we've got one called PC. Sorry, no, I've got that wrong. We've got one called Laptop, because he is a 5-foot man and he's a policeman, so he's a small PC. No, so you've got to work on them. Need a little bit more invention. There's another couple I could go into, but we're on air.
Yeah.
So I shall desist. Now Vincent Kabongo is being invited to get back into the fray here. Wasn't sure he entirely knew that there was a scrum to attend.
One of the rules, obviously, with the uncontested scrums is that they have to have eight in the scrum.
I
so Warriors are down 1 in the bin, but they do need to make up that number.
Yeah, so the gap may appear a little wider out. Ball has gone forwards. This so far, I would say, a tighter game than both sides were perhaps expecting.
Yes, I agree. It might open up a little bit in the second half. I'd say the Warriors would probably be more comfortable using that wind. Aaron Sweeney does have a pretty good left foot on him.
It may become a game of territory second half.
I might imagine so. The key, as I mentioned at the beginning, is that whoever wins this game ends up in a semi-final for the Union Cup. The loser goes into the bowl.
Well, it is all at stake. Home side will be hoping that it's not having a choking effect on their ability to get this result over the line to win. We'll play with the wind again by sticking that right up in the air, but it was really well taken. Looking to try and
well chased as well.
It was indeed, and the follow-up tackles were good, not allowing the Warriors too much room to get away. Kelly goes away to the right side, then Ryan looking for the options. Another little ball back inside. It's Darren Moran. Now they come back down the line. John Gavin galloping forward with the ball. Now they're looking to put a bit more width on it again. Ball popping up once more. Just getting over the gain line enough each time here at the minute, the Warriors, and enjoying a decent spell of possession, but they decide to switch the play. Chip through. Is that going to be the right option? Into the 22. Follow-up tackle, but in typical French fashion, they're going to fancy a chance to run it out, but they take the contact, set up the ruck, and now they're there to play it away again. It's a bit of a wild pass to take, so the spiral goes downfield, carried by the wind, and that's taken play up to the Irish 10-metre line. They want to take it quickly. Well, that is good game management from the French.
Very good.
Dare say that when the clock does reach the 20-minute mark, the Emerald Warriors may just take half-time as soon as they can. And in fact, the referee has called half-time. So, 4 points between the two sides. Fascinatingly poised. The wind likely to prove to be a factor. And you wonder whether the French might have tried to do a little bit more in terms of kicking territory in that first 20 minutes. We've enjoyed them running it, of course, but the Emerald Warriors with a bit of work to do in the second half.
I don't think he's actually called it. I think we are still playing.
My apologies. I heard the hooter, and I saw people running on with the water. Up over the halfway. Toulon trying to force the turnover, but the man had his knees on the floor, so the man who has made the tackle has to make sure he releases, and Kelly is looking to take advantage of the French having their backs turned. Quite rightly too, as any good scrum half will. Now they go wide. Kabongo bounces off one. He's going to go back for a second bite. Swats another one away.
Strong.
Gets the offload away out the back of the hand and on the floor, but tackles come raining in. Brendan Cullerton would have certainly felt that. Now they look to try and keep it through the hands. Kelly again, looking at the options. Little reverse ball back. Moran just takes a couple more metres. Now the late man arriving round the corner. That was nicely done by John Gavin.
Good clear out as well.
Looking to just try and keep this Toulouse defence honest.
Great
Oh, it's a
tackle.
really good hit.
Oh, he's gone through the centre.
Warriors still going, 6 metres out. Surely the score inevitable here. Kelly's gone himself. Now the offload.
Cesar held on to it.
2 Win doing such a good job of closing the door just each and every time they need to. And again they're held up, and that will be half-time. Herculean defence from the French. Not something you could have said on any level of French rugby for a number of years. But they've certainly put their bodies on the line there. Great to see. Well, what a second 20 we have to come. Now, for those of you who are just joining our coverage or perhaps enjoying the end of day one here, well, we of course got off to an absolutely great start yesterday with a wonderful opening ceremony that has really set the tone for the rugby family and the gay community to all be enjoying this Union Cup weekend together. We can catch up with how that looked last night. So the last 20 minutes of day one of the Union Cup here in Dublin, and it's 2 Win who get it started, but that ball has not gone the full 10. Well,
I think it went and blew back.
And blew back, yeah. The referee was signalling that it effectively went the 10 in mid-air and blew back. So, in fact, French have been able to keep their hands on this, and then a gap opening up for the 10 here. Oh my goodness, needs the support, gets it on the inside into the 22. They weren't able to make this many yards with ball in hand with the wind at their backs in the first half, but now running into it, suddenly they're looking dangerous again. This would be a big upset if the French were to get near a turnover on this result. Trailing by 4 points. Plenty of time left, of course, in this first half, and we expect the Warriors to be able to build to a score or two. That is a little bit loopy. And they're going backwards here, such is the line speed of the Warriors, committing in that tackle. They needed to. Emerald Warriors with a momentary counter ruck, but they decide to keep the bodies out of it, knowing they might be needed more across the midfield, where the French are determined to try and unpick them. And then the numbers again lining up on that right side, needing to straighten. Oh, and goes through one tackle.
And a great pop.
Brought down at the second attempt, but indeed the offload was key to keep the momentum going forwards. This is great from the side from Toulouse. Oh, and that was high. Referee is not interested in it. Offload is a little loose, but then out of the tackle they go. 13 looks to straighten. It's a double hit. Can he get his body turned? Irish player is on the wrong side, but referee happy enough that he was trapped in there. Couldn't do anything about it. Players come running round the corner now to try and create the extra men. The ball had to go, and it does go. It was forwards.
Ooh.
French are celebrating, but the last pass just wasn't backwards enough.
The overlap was there.
They did well to run around the corner, didn't they? Men on the sidelines in front of us with their heads in hands. We've got one of the Warriors players is just momentarily down. Good to see. Gets back to his feet, and it's Owen Kelly. Medics are just having a word with him. He won't be wanting to leave the field, but he's given the once over. They're happy. Warriors will hope he's all right, because they need him here for a big defensive scrum. The Irish will know the wind is at their backs, and they've got the opportunity for a big touch finder in them if they want to.
And that is a big kick.
Look at
Carried
that.
nearly to the halfway line. It's still going.
It is skipping away. It's almost going to go out at the 22, but the French just pick up. Take on the first tackler and then get the offload away, which nearly went back through the legs. Up to the 10-metre line in French territory. Dips the shoulder into that first tackle. Needs to be careful about that leading arm. Occasionally hearing whistles going on pitches next to us, and I'm momentarily thinking the game is being called to a halt. Players know better. French 10 is
through the phases here,
showing some beautiful skills and choosing the right options here at times as to whether he's going to use his midfield players or pop it up to shorter runners. But now we have a loud blast on the whistle from the referee, and we're going to get a yellow card for the French hooker. He's disagreeing with the referee. Nobody likes to see that. Decision made, saying he came in at the side.
And we have another blood substitution, I believe, for 2 in.
Can have another little look here. It's not an awful lot in that. Drives his way through the ruck. ends up on a sideways angle as he comes through. Maybe I'm guilty of favouring the underdog in that exchange. Either way,
I didn't think there was a lot in it myself.
No, there wasn't too much, I don't think. But now the Warriors haven't had too much ball in hand since the second half started.
Oh, and ripped away.
Here come To Win. Now they go through the hands again. Ball slapped down. Referee isn't interested in anything more other than the man in the tackle. And here is that French 10 again. Mercurial. Oh, there's the error. Now this might be just the platform that the Emerald Warriors want. And they are furious that there was no call on the deliberate knock-on via the tackle. So often in games these days, if there's just a hand involved in the tackle in any way, a referee will give it as more than a knock-on. There was a flailing arm into that.
Yeah.
I think he's very, very lucky there. Now then, the assistant here is having a word with the referee. He certainly seems to be gesticulating some form of slap-down motion. But the referee is going back to where we were.
Yeah, he's going to give the penalty now, I think.
Oh, we are coming back.
Yeah.
Let's have another little look. Watch this right arm coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going for the ball, isn't it? He's lucky to be staying on the field.
Yeah. And
I think the assistant's having a word here as well.
Yeah, penalty.
He's
Not a knock-on.
Made it clear it's the penalty.
They don't fancy this wind to kick into.
No, they don't, do they? Why not? Well, they've certainly looked dangerous with ball in hand. Although the Warriors are doing their best to try and hold that up at the first time of asking. French have done well to get it to ground. Big leap. Allez, 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 allez is the call. They're continuing to go forwards here. Can they get the ball to ground? Referee says that it's there for them to use. Off to the right they go. Little show from the fly half. Then a nice ball out the back, and can they get a run around on the outside? The touchline is at their mercy, but Vincent Kabongo has done a superb job of snaffling that through the tackle as a last line of defence for the Warriors, and they needed that. Kelly gets it away. Do they fancy running this from their own 22? Oh, that's a lovely little
show.
Bit of dummy work from Darren Morin. That was gorgeous. Sent everybody running away. And then the little step.
Oh, that's a great break.
And now they come through. One last man to beat. The ball is given away, but there's real gas to get away from Lynch. And that's what the Warriors needed to do.
I think it has to be pointed out with the two-in hooker in the bin, that actually makes two-in down to 13 players. Emerald Warriors would have their full complement back on the pitch now.
It's a two-player advantage, isn't it?
It is.
But that gap just opening up a little more with that score. We'll begin to just calm the nerves a little, and you wonder now, with that score going down, whether the French will stay in the fight. Oren Sweeney will no doubt make meat and drink of adding these 2 points. Certainly does. Emerald Warriors 14 to win 3.
Slightly against the run of play, really. I would say.
Yes, I think you could. French hooker rejoins So they're back up to 14. And I think he's just been told by his blindside flanker colleague that they could do without losing another man to the bin for the remainder of the game, given that they're already down to 14 due to the uncontested scrums. So Warriors will look to try and build here.
No, he held on to it there.
No, I think it was a good
decision.
decision.
It was.
Because I think the French were sensing another chance to pick that off. But they wrestled it away. Fascinating, this one.
No, that's a great tackle.
It is a superb hit.
And he got up and hit and drove.
I
think that's turned over, isn't it?
Oh, no. Players going off their feet, says the referee. But yeah, it was a brilliant hit. Brought the physicality that just stopped that Toulouse momentum dead. As the clock continues to tick, you really sense that Toulon need to get a try on the board in the next couple of minutes if they're to believe that the upset of upsets is on the cards. Everybody loves an upset. I'm not sure that everybody loves the hosts going out of their own competition.
No. I think I know what you're alluding to.
Can we put them both through? It'd be lovely. I mean, you dare say this Toulouse team could cause a few of the other teams a bit of a headache.
I would have to think that Douin would be favourites for the Union Cup Bowl if they end up in the Union Cup Bowl.
Certainly on the evidence of what we've seen here.
Yeah.
Now they start to make a couple of changes. Been plenty in this game, plenty to enjoy. Kelly. They're keeping Kabongo.
They're using this big pitch.
Yeah, they're keeping Kabongo out of the scrums
as well. Stayed in just.
Oh, and that's just gone past the last line of defence. The chase is on now.
Could go all the way dead. Oh no, he has to. Oh, he. That's a 5 metre scrum, I think.
Oren Sweeney.
He took it and
giving
then
chase. Yeah, well, it looked like he picked that up rather than dotted it down.
Yeah, he picked it and he was driven it over the dead ball line. I would have thought that that's a 5 metre scrum to the Emerald Warriors, but I think that the referees decided that it was dead.
Wow. We're grateful to all the officials, but they've certainly given us a few talking points in this one, haven't they? No yellow card for the slap down. An interpretation that was grounded over the 22. Over the dead ball line, but or try line. Get it right.
Yeah.
There we go. In the goal area.
In at the side again by that number 2. He got into trouble for that already.
He loves it. The referee's considering blowing here, and it is going to be a penalty.
Yeah. And I think that was actually called by the touch judge on that occasion. Going to have a word again, I think. Yeah.
Oh, now then. The look on his face there.
Yep.
Absolute picture. And his skipper, he's not too happy with him. This has got to be a final warning, right?
I think that one was more deserving of the yellow card than the one that we had in the earlier on, to be perfectly honest.
It was more blatant, wasn't it?
Definitely, yeah. You have to come into the back foot.
And he started pulling people out in all sorts of directions there, so he was making himself pretty well known.
Ooh, that was
very much a miscue.
Although it might work out for the Amber Warriors. I think the French have knocked it on there, possibly.
If they haven't, it's a miracle they haven't, because it looked like they did about 4 times. But they'll make a clearance that won't find touch. Ended up being a decent decision just to take that on the boot. Now
Straight
the run and draw, and that's nicely done. And there's a last line of defence, but it's come out of the hands and gone forwards. That last man doing just enough defensively. Had to go.
Yeah, there was 2 men outside Gary Lynch there. I think it literally his eye was taken off the ball by the French defender coming towards him. He'll be disappointed.
Off they go again. French are going to find room. It's taken around the back of the neck on the jersey. They'll get the penalty. I have to say now, at this stage, the problem for the French is going to be the clock more than anything else.
Yeah.
So the tap and go is the option. First dummy. We have a penalty to the Warriors. 2 big men running into each other off the ball.
And it's our friend, the French hooker again.
It was absolute comedy. I'm hoping we can show that to you in a moment. But the Warriors are continuing to go. I made a joke to Jamie George in the England camp when I was interviewing them a few months ago about the week when they were due to play Japan. I said, have you spent all week online looking at Japanese hookers? And at the minute I'm involved in a commentary where there are a million French hookers, French hooker jokes coming to mind because he's putting himself in the firing line. Let's have a little look at this. What's the French number 2 following the ball here? What's what happens off the ball? Oh, the drama. Oh, that is absolutely glorious. I'm going to ask our director to roll that one again in a minute. I'm going to film the monitor.
Could you do it in slow motion just to
even slower
effect? Yeah,
to capture the full drama.
I think the urgency with the French is they need to realise that they're two tries behind.
Do you know what? At this stage, I think it's the drama they're enjoying more than whether they win or lose. But their name is to win and not to lose.
True.
And they are here to win, and they are making ground again with ball in hand. Their offload game has been absolutely brilliant.
It has.
And they get
off
a
their
penalty.
feet again.
Warriors not being able to help themselves in trying to secure it. Warriors, I would say, in no danger of losing this, and in fact there is the hooter. The quick tap and go hasn't gone to hand, but can the French get a score?
A consolation here, and they probably deserve one.
Certainly more deserving than the scoreboard suggests of being behind by the 11 points that they are, especially as they've been on 14 men to 15 throughout. Have to remember that. Oh, ball in one hand, then the offload back inside. Warriors don't know where they need to defend next. It's been done with so much accuracy as well.
Ooh, that's
There's another high shot.
So that'll be a penalty anyway.
The game isn't done yet. There's the penalty. Can we tap and go, sir? Off we go. And the Irish off. Is that another one? The French are appealing everything on the sideline next to us. Oh, but that has now nudged forward.
There was a knock on.
The referee will be delighted. The Irish will be delighted. They clear the ball away, and there won't be any late drama for the Emerald Warriors. They may be a little disappointed as to have not scored the 4 tries, because that might have been an expectation going into it. But I'd imagine, having felt how things were at half-time, they'll just be pleased to have got that win over the line.
I agree. The aim was definitely to get into the next phase of the Union Cup rather than into the bowl, so they'd be happy that they have that semi-final now in the bag.
Well, there we are, the full-time score, 14 points to 3 The Emerald Warriors have come out as winners. And, well, if you are wanting to keep up to date with all of the results ahead of our games tomorrow and to look at all the fixtures, you can get onto unioncupdublin.ie. We've got all the results over the course of the day for you to enjoy there. Hashtag try with pride if you want to get involved in the discussion around the Union Cup. But day one has drawn to a close. Thank you so much for your company wherever you have been watching from. We're looking forward to you rejoining us tomorrow for day two. We are streaming from 8 o'clock, commentary from 11, and that is day one complete. Happy chat, Peter?
Thank you very much for having me.
Very good. So we look forward to a Guinness in a little while, I think.
Indeed.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks very much indeed.